Wasn't even sure if I was gonna, make a video right now. I wasn't in the mood, but I was catching some vibrations that were running through my head. I tried to make this video again, but I kept fucking it up. I pushed. I was just trying to make this video, but I pushed the little button and stopped recording on accident. And I don't know how to cut my videos together or edit or anything. So I guess I'm restarting it. But yeah, I just want to do a touch up on the gods. What I was talking about, the difference between God and man, how God creates man. You know what I mean? And a little touch up on some of the history I was going over too. But for example, the Africans. When I say the gods are not Africans, I don't mean like they're a complete different being. We all came from man, but it's what you do to your DNA, the journey you take through life. Your DNA is basically your storyline through life that makes you who you are. You know what I mean? And and the Africans, what separates them from the gods is the foods they eat, which has an effect on your thought process, and the and when it changes your thought process, you tend to act less godly. I mean, you can't change your thought process to be better than a god, to be better than somebody who's thinking crystal clear. You know what I mean? If you're already thinking crystal clear from a source consciousness, you can't all of a sudden one up that. You can as a commune, you can evolve that source consciousness. You know what I mean? You can come together with the others in that source consciousness to move it along, but you yourself can't raise above, the whole. Um, the whole when it comes to, a clear conscious, somebody who eats pure food, you know what I mean, or doesn't need to eat because they have the body of a god. You know what I mean? They've evolved their body to a point where they can feed off of more proficient sources of energy. You know what I mean? I want to go over some of these ancient Egyptian deities too. Just a little something I've been reading online. And people debating about Ra or Ptah, who was there first. You know what I mean? Well, but as clearly stated by the gods, man has always been, if in no other way than at least a thought in God's mind. So neither could come first, Ra or Ptah, because as soon as Ra came into consciousness, the first thought that was in his mind was that I'm man, or I want to be man, I want to create man, or I'm the image of man. You know what I mean? So people talking about, they say Ptah's the creator. This that Ptah, man did not create God. God created man. Period. You know what I mean? Because we've seen without the God perspective, man really can't create jack shit. You know what I mean? So let's put it into that. Ptah, I would put it this way about Ptah: he's the first man. You know what I mean? And when they say Ptah was a great builder, you know what I mean? Or when the gods commanded Ptah to taught, we're teaching him, we're giving him teachings on how to build a pyramid and a temple or temples. They were teaching him how to build his body back up to God's state. You know what I mean? So what we're talking about with Ptah here being a great builder, we're not talking about him literally building things in the world. We're talking about when man falls from the state of God, the journey he goes through to return to that state. I want to touch up on some of the history I put out there too. Iram, as they'll say, Iram, or I mean Syria at the time, where while when Syria became Iram, that was because they say it was mistranslated by by the Greeks. You know what I mean? They translated Syria as Aram. And you'll read in Aram. In the Bible, Aram's the land of Syria. You know what I mean? And I want to touch up on what that is over here. So if for those of you who haven't figured it out, what we're living in, when you live in the Americas, North and South America, this is basically a more advanced version of the continent on the the other side of the world, or as I call it, beneath the water. The Asiatic continent, the Aegean continent, which is over there, Africa, Asia, India, Europe, those places over there, they're lesser than us. You know what I mean? The people there operate on a lesser form of consciousness, and you can see this through their behavior. I don't give a damn if you're from there and you don't like that I'm saying this. It's true. I don't care where you're from, Africa, Europe, Asia. The bottom line is, if you were born on that continent, you don't have the same conscious capabilities as somebody born over here on these continents. Period. Not until you've been over here. It's a complete different energy that rules over the land over here. You know what I mean? And if you were to look at what's going on over there, it's a reflection of what happens over here. You know what I mean? These lands are spiritually bonded to each other, as are all lands. So when they're talking about Aram, you know what I mean, as they say, when they fooled us into thinking we weren't gods, those of us who are from this land, this continent over here, when they fooled us into thinking we weren't gods, part of what they did was take the language and turn it around backwards. You know what I mean? So Aram is if you would if you would like read Aram backwards, that would be Mara. You know what I mean? And here you have the Mayans over here, you know, which were really the Aramites. You know what I mean? So because Maya backwards would be Iam. You know what I mean? But really, what they're talking about is Aram again. You know. So when they say the first culture over here, or one of the first cultures of humans were the Mayan people, what they're really talking about is the sons of Aram, which is those were when the god race fell into the form of man. Those were the original men. They became, as I said, the Syrians or the Aramites. You know, the sons of Aram, the sons and daughters of Aram. Now, if you want to go back before that to when they're still in their god forms, you can look at the Olmec culture. Now they say Olmec means rubber people. You know what I mean? And people will wonder what this means. Well, it means a couple of things. First off, when they're calling Olmec rubber people, it's because up until humanity came over here to this side of the earth, you know, the Americas, they didn't have rubber. It was the Olmec, the god race, which was here at that time, that had rubber. All right, and they would use the rubber to make hoses for a lot of them will look at pyramids and they'll show pictures of people in spacesuits and they'll say they were in outer space. Those are actually diving suits. They were going under the water, and they were going under the water to get myrrh, which is purple. The purple represents royalty because purple is the strongest color. It represents the most energy on a if you were to display energy in the form of color. Ultraviolet purple would be the most intense energy, and there were people who saw things in the form of energy. So they would get the myrrh shells from under the sea. They'd use diving suits and these rubber hoses to breathe. They connected to the suit to breathe while they were under the sea, so they could collect myrrh and make purple dye out of it, because that's what the royalty wear. As it says in the Bible, you know, the royal godmen, we wore the colors of maroon and purple. You know what I mean? Those were the colors we used to express when we were of high ranking, the people who were still in their godliness. You know what I mean? But they also called the Olmec rubber people because you know, rubber absorbs heat. It absorbs sunlight, solar energy. But what does rubber deflect? Electricity. You know, that disconnected consciousness. Those beings that are all, you know, you know, you could say people who focus on electrical consciousness, you know, that's one for all, and the people who focus on solar consciousness, that's all for one. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's a little touch up. That's them hinting their history to you. You know, Olmec. You know what I mean? They were the rubber people. They never called them the rubber people. That's them giving you a hint. You know what I mean? They're throwing you a hint of where you were. But I'm gonna get deeper into Olmec, you know, and how that's really old Mecca, the original Mecca, and yeah, in Mexico, that's the way it's pronounced actually, Mecca. You know, you're hearing Mexicans and they'll say, oh, it's pronounced Mexico. That's some Spaniard shit, you know, and Spanish ain't a language that's from this continent. So all these Mexicans who are running around speaking Spanish, thinking that they know more about Mexico than you because they speak Spanish, they're speaking out their ass. Because Spanish is a witchcraft language that came from over the seas. You know what I mean? Like you don't speak at all. First off, when you're in your right state of mind, you don't need words to communicate with your own people. You know, but I'm gonna touch up more on the history on Mexico being Mecca, and I'm gonna talk about the Meconodons and, you know, all that good stuff that doesn't really seem to be getting out there. But right now, I just wanted to elaborate on some of the things I already said. You know, and the key thing is, don't believe all this BS about those being spacesuits and the pyramids. Ain't none of these humans ever been to space, and those little figurines they find, you know, in pyramids or in temples or ancient spacesuits, those are diving suits. All right, as I said, to get the myrrh. Why do they want the myrrh? Because the color purple has deep meaning to us. You know what I mean? I just wanted to make sure I clarified that. You know what I mean? Because there's a lot of misinformation going on here. But yeah, I'll keep on with these history videos. You know, this one's just a little touch up right now. I'll catch you all later.